Hey guys, welcome to today's video, and in today's video we will be creating a register and login system for our e-commerce app using Python Flask. So I uploaded a video on how to use databases, so I won't cover that much in depth on the databases we'll be using. So make sure to watch my database tutorial if you guys want some more info, and make sure to watch my other tutorials as well, like my forms and validation tutorial, so you guys don't miss out anything on the e-commerce project. So we're gonna start off by importing all necessary imports. So we're gonna be using Flask SQL Alchemy for the database. So from Flask SQL Alchemy, import SQL Alchemy, and then we can define our DB over here, our database. Let's also config our SQL Alchemy database URL. Database Meraki SQLite. Let's call this site.db. So if you guys watch my database tutorial, I mentioned that SQL Alchemy is an object-oriented way to manage our database. So I'm gonna create our user model. So class user db.model, not db.method, db.model. Each user has an ID. db.column, db.integer, primary equals to true. Why isn't my tab not working properly? Never mind. And then we can have a username equals to db.column, db.string 20, unique equals to true. We can copy and paste that for the email, and same for the password. So we've got our user model, and I'm gonna create a couple more models. So we're gonna create a model for an item in the cart. So I'm gonna call this a cart item. db.model. Each cart item has an ID. Integer primary key equals true. Each cart item has a name. Let's increase that. Each cart item has a price. db.column, db.integer. And so we're gonna I didn't cover this in the database tutorial, but we're going to be linking the user and the cart item model using something called a relationship and a backref. So I'll create cart items equals to db.relationship, then the table name, so cart item. We're gonna have backref equals to user. So over here now we're gonna use user ID equals to db.column, db.integer. What happened? db.foreign key user.id. So the reason this is lowercase user instead of capital user is because we're getting a backref from here. So the user.id, so the user's ID. So we're also going to create a class for a product. So class product db.model. Each product has an ID. Each product has a name. And each product has a description, and I'm going to have two descriptions. I'm going to have description 1 equals to db.column, and instead of db.string I'm going to have db.text. We can copy that for description 2. We can have price over here as as well. And that's basically all that we need. Let me just think. Oh yeah, and we need an image file as well. Image file equals to db.column db.string 120. So we're gonna create our database. We're gonna copy the path, open up a terminal. We have the directory already, so we actually didn't need to copy the path. We can open Python from app import db. App is app.py over here. db is the database variable over here. db.create all. So we've got site.db created. Also, if I'm going a bit too fast, for you guys, the link for all the code, and if you guys need any help, the link for my Discord is in the description. You guys can DM me at any time. Most of the time I'm free and I'll respond relatively quickly. So now we've got our database created. Inside the register, since I added in the user model, the username should be unique. We need a way to validate the username, to check if the username is already taken. So if you guys watched my form and validation tutorial, I showed you guys how we did the validation over here. So I'm gonna create some more functions called. So I'm gonna call this def validate, not password, validate username, which is one of the arguments. So I'm gonna have user equals to user, which is referencing the user table over here. I think I should first move all of them underneath here. So user.query.filter by username equals to the username over here first. So this will basically look for a username with the username that we provided, and it will show the first answer. Then we're gonna do if user. So it will show that if it finds a user with that username, we can flash username is already taken. Please choose a different username, and we're gonna have danger as the class, bootstrap class, and else we can have return past. So I'm gonna copy and paste this. Validate email. Okay, so now, so if it's passed all the first layer checks, we'll make it pass the second layer checks. So we're gonna have validate username is validate username, and validate email is not validate password email. So then we're gonna do if the validate username double equals to past, and validate email double equals to past, it will flash created account. So let's check. Instead of flashing created account, we don't need to hash that out, but we're basically going to create a new user. So in my database tutorial, I showed you guys how to interact and add users. So I'm gonna create a new user. New user equals to user. We're gonna reference the user class. Username equals to username. The username is the username we have over here. Email equals to email. Password equals to password. So that's basically all we need for the new user. Then we're gonna add them to the database by db.session.add new user and db.session.commit. So this should have added a new user. So we're going to run this now. Let's open up the register route. Just create an account called test1 t1@gmail.com 123123. So we've created an account because there are really no errors over here. So now I'm gonna re-roll the register page and try to create another account with test1 t1@gmail.com 123 and username is already taken and email is already taken. So this HTML templating is kind of tacky and it kind of looks weird, so I'm just gonna change some of the styling here. So instead of a div, I'm gonna have span.text and we're gonna have message. If you guys don't know this, it's basically I cover this in my forums and validation tutorial. So I'm gonna add a line break over here as well. So as you guys see, now the errors show up much more cleanly over here, and I think we should actually add this over this, and let's have margin top 3%. So yep, this looks a lot better. So I'm gonna go back to app.py. So we've got everything working and we've added a register, we've added a user to our account. So now I'm gonna show you guys how to make a login system. So we're not gonna make it return email and password. So first we want to find the user that they're trying to log in with. So user equals user.query.filter by email equals email.first. Yeah, and the autocomplete is tab9. Tab9 is really good, and this is not a sponsor. I'm just saying if you guys want to speed up your code, you guys can use tab9. So we've got a user over here. So user equals to user.query.filter by email equals email.first. So we're gonna check if a user exists with those credentials. So if user, then we want to check if user.password. So the password of that user double equals to the password you entered. So we can just return. We can just flash logged in success, and we can have else over here. Flash invalid credentials. Please try again. So we can copy this flash statement and paste it over here as well. So I think I need to add the flash. Yeah, I need to add the flash to login. So I'm actually going to have this at the bottom now. So now let's check out if it worked. This is a very simple login system, by the way. Nothing too complicated, and it actually hasn't even logged us in properly. It hasn't logged us yet. It's just a message. So I'm gonna have some random stuff. Invalid credentials, please try again. And if we if we do a correct email and invalid password, again, same error. But if we do it correct, logged in. So very simple. And also, guys, if you think that I'm going a bit too fast for you guys can comment that in the below, and I'll try to make these videos more detailed as possible. And if you guys want the code to the video, the link for my Discord will be in the description, and you guys can DM me for help or the code at any time. Most of the time I'm free. So instead of using any extensions like the Flask login manager, oh wait, we don't need this thing. Um instead of using something like a Flask login manager, we are actually going to use something called a browser session. So a browser session is some information basically stored in your browser. So the information we'll have stored is your user ID and if you're logged in or not. So I'm gonna import session over here. So if it logs in, so sessions are used as JSON data. So I'll show you guys. So if it actually logged us in, we're gonna use session Then we can create anything we want. So logged in equals true, and session user ID equals to user.id. So the session, the logged in variable in the session is true, so that will show that we're logged in, and your user ID is the user.id if it's correct. So since we've got that, we can create another function which will allow us to get user data. So we're gonna use this def get user by ID, and then we can have user ID. So we can have UID actually we don't need this. We can do user equals user.query.filter by ID equals to int UID dot first. So it'll find the user with that ID and return user. So that's basically how we use sessions. So I'll show you guys how to make a check if I'm logged in. So we can do if logged in, if logged in session, then we can do user equals get user by user by ID. Then we can have int session user ID. Then we can just return, let's check, user.username. So let's check if this works. So let's get back out. So I'm currently logged in as test1, and also sessions are really helpful. Let's say I accidentally close the tab. If I reopen the tab, I'm still logged in as test1. And there's a way to make permanent sessions. So even if I close the browser, so let's close the browser now. It currently doesn't. I currently don't have a permanent session, but I might show you guys how to do that later. So if I close the browser, I've been logged out. So before this, I think that we should probably do some styling. So I'm gonna go to Bootstrap over here, and most of my things, my components, I just copy from the Bootstrap website, and obviously make my own changes. So I'm gonna copy this navigation bar and paste this into index.html. So if you run the app.py now, so I haven't oh my gosh, I obviously haven't added Bootstrap CSS. So let's add Bootstrap CSS over here. Let's also add the Bootstrap bundle.js. And so we've got the navbar over here. So I'm gonna delete this because now we don't need any of the basic code. So I'm gonna also make it index.html. It will say h1 hello user.username. So user is undefined, so we can return render template instead of name and all that kind of stuff. We can do user equals to user, and instead of that we can do user equals to none. So user is undefined. So before we do that, you want to have an if condition. So if user, so if user is defined, and if, so now since I'm not logged in, it's not gonna show anything. And I think I should add login register, and let's have this for URL for login. So this is again running Python code in HTML and CSS. So watch my templating video if you guys want to know more. So now we've got that. So if I go to login, it should take me to a login, register, take me to register. So if I log in correctly, logged in, but instead of logged in, I'm gonna make it redirect us to home. But first let's go back to home and hello test one. So it's currently logged me in again. So we also don't need any custom CSS here. So I'm gonna add some more styling to this class, margin 5. So since we're logged in, I also want there to be a logout section. So I'm gonna add again if user and if, then we're gonna have another Bootstrap nav item here called logout, and instead of having a URL for, I'm just gonna have /logout. So currently /logout doesn't exist, but it will soon. So if I'm logged in, I've got logout over here. So I'm gonna create a new route for logout. So add app.route /logout, def logout, then we can do session.clear. So this apparently should clear the session, and then we can flash logged out as warning, and we can return them to direct URL for, we can return them to login. Okay, I don't think I've imported redirect and URL for. And I don't know why these random things just show up. Yeah, that's about it. So if I reload, so if I logged out, and if I go back into home, as you guys can see, I'm not logged in anymore because the message isn't showing up, and logout is not showing in the navigation bar. So that's basically it for this tutorial. Again, if I went a bit too fast, you guys can please specify in the comments. So if you guys comment, I can make my videos better for you guys. And again, if you guys need any help, or if you guys want the code for this, just DM me on Discord. My Discord, the link for my Discord server is in the description. So again, if you enjoyed this, make sure to like and subscribe. And without that, I'm out.